I always remember wanting to go to that place, right? And that's why I started with the guitars. Like there was a place that I wanted to get to that I couldn't get to. And other people talked about, meditating and all this. And I didn't even know what it felt like, but I knew that there were walls blocking me from it. And I knew that it was important for me to go there, right? And now I go there so often that it's so surprising when I'm not there. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Right? But other people have other ways of going there. And that's why, I thought about this exchange, because I was like, the kind of thing that you were talking about, being able to do these healings in sessions as opposed to years of therapy. And I'm like, well, I've been doing years of therapy on myself in this particular way, and there's still something that I can't get to there. As much as I know, as I've done, and I can help others do, there's still a piece that I just can't get to. And I think it has to do with the familial stuff,
Yeah, and often it does. And part of the problem is that, if we know what to ask, we can get to what the problem is. But if we don't know how to ask for it, then we don't find it, right? So because our system is available for healing. Really, we're like self-healing machines, but we get blocked. And when we're blocked, it's like all it takes is kind of like the right key to open it, and then it can heal. But if you don't ever get that, and it just sticks around, and it gets really frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And I was just watching a talk with what's his name, Tim Farrell. He's a big podcaster. I don't know if you've heard of him, but anyway.
Ferriss?
But Ferriss. Yeah, I keep saying his name. Yeah. But anyway, but he was talking about getting specific about the fears, like having these, and when we say, oh, well, even just me saying I have performance anxiety, or you saying, oh, I don't know how to sing, right? I can't sing, or I'm afraid to free my voice. Like there's more specifics there, and we don't know the questions to ask, right? Like this well, what happens is my fingers, they stop, and this was a big piece that I did an Amy Amata thing, and I was listening, and this was a really good thing too, but she was talking about, what I realized when I wrote this morning was that I learned through my childhood and through living in a family of addiction, that I learned to modify my energy, my vibration, based on the outside and the authorities figures outside. So the minute that I assume somebody is rejecting me, right, then I short circuit myself so that I cannot express that which I've come to channel. And so what came to me was the question is, how do I stay energetically connected with myself, even though others, and they may actually reject me, right? In a sense, I've been practicing rejection, because that was like, well, when I even assume somebody's rejecting, I have this thing in my mind, then my body and my system cuts off, and then I shortcut everything. I don't do those pretty instrumental leads that I can do. I don't dive into those notes that are there, right? And my hands, it's almost like my hands don't belong to me anymore. And that's so it's that fight or freeze thing, like we've talked about before. And so I'm like, well, how do I not allow that from the outside to cut off the energy that is there for me, right? And it has to do with, I know it has to do with that self-love and self-acceptance, but it has to do with maintaining my vibrational field within myself. And that, I can help people free their voice. I can help people find the music, but I don't know how to keep that energy. And I have a gig tomorrow with my students, and I'm like, oh my God, how do I do this, right?
Oh, so you have an immediate need. All right.
I do, yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because then it's up, you know, if something's like that's up. So you want to just go into it?
Yeah, let's
just go into it.
And then once I mean, if you feel inspired to work with me a little bit with the system, and then I'll, you know, and we can go back and forth, or I can, you know, you can do me and then I can do you.
Yeah, well,
you know?
let's do you. Yeah. And I don't have a timer or anything with me, so you're going to have to keep time.
I have time.
But
right
I'm thinking
here.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, so usually about a half an hour.
Yeah,
maybe a little.
Great, absolutely. And then we can switch. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a brief introduction. The work I do is I've been trained by Carolyn Cooper, and originally her work was called Simply Healed, and it's exactly that, right? But it's really right now she just rebranded to Simply Aligned, and she says that that's actually more accurate, and it probably is, you know, more accurate about what she does. And so what she has come up with, and there's like a foundational belief around this work that our bodies, you know, have the perfect blueprint for our health, and that basically any problems we have are caused by some kind of stress, and some kind of stress either in, you know, our lives, and mostly the most powerful stresses in our lives are the ones that we incur between the ages of 0 and 8. And often what happens, those just get locked in our unconscious. And then as we grow, you know, we create a comfort zone. Actually, I have a drawing. This is just a little introduction I give, so you'll kind of have an idea of what we're doing here. Here's my fancy drawing. Okay.
Nice.
Let's see, here we go.
Yeah.
And for people who you know, who may just be getting the voice of this, it's a circle. Yeah. And there's a bunch of X's around the outside of this circle and sort of randomly in the space outside of the circle. And that's our comfort zone. And the little X's are triggers. So those are things that caused issues with us, usually when we're kids, but some of them are ancestral. Mm-hmm. And some of them are caused when there were wars or famine or something like that, you know, that happened, that got passed down. But we have our comfort zone, and it's comfortable because there aren't any X's inside of it. And then as we grow, like we push ourselves to do something new, we have to make this comfort zone a little wider, and we uncover these kind of little landmines there, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And when they go off, suddenly we can't do what we usually are used to being able to do, you know? Yeah. And we're back at 3 years old where, you know, we got scared and ran away, or we got scared and hid, or we froze, you know, so that's a fight, flight, or freeze, right? Yes. We froze in place because we didn't know what to do. Yes. And so those are all like unconscious triggers. Now, the good news is that they're on or off. It's kind of their digital, you know, they're binary. So there's like the trigger's either on or it's off, right? Yeah. And so as we expand our comfort zone, we turn it on, right? But if we have the right tools, we can just turn it off, and then it's off. Yes. And it's pretty much gone. So that's really cool. Yes. Right? And so we use a type of energy healing. And the great thing I love about this work is that Carolyn's prepared, we call it the menu. We have a menu of all the ways that we can be aligned. Okay, so it's called Simply Aligned. So we can be aligned in connection. We can be aligned in our self-worth. We can be aligned with generations. We can be aligned with our energy systems, with our body, with our timeline, you know. There's a section called elimination. So it's like all the toxins and those kinds of things. And a few other, there's just a few other areas. And so what we want to do, the beauty of this work is that we don't look for what's wrong, okay? We look for what's right. And if it's not right, we make it right. And we don't think of it as wrong, we just make it right, right? And so, because in my experience with what you were talking about, all the work that you've done through the years to get through all these things, that if you look for what's wrong, you'll keep finding more things that are wrong, right? And I got so tired of that. Ugh. So I really like to look for what's right. And so that's what we do here. We kind of look for what's right. So what I do is we'll look and yeah, isn't that cool?
I like that because it really goes with that law of attraction. And I discovered that about the performance anxiety. I was focusing on telling that old narrative. And then I was like, yeah, but Emily, look at how far you've come. And look at how you were actually able to sing. And what have you always been wanting to do to sing, right? So it's like that. I really like that because it feels better. It feels more in alignment already just to start from that place. So thank you for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So here's the thing. So with this work, so I'm going to go through the menu and I'm just going to check. And generally how it happens is like, you know, we're at this level and we'll find the one spot that's a little weaker.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we fix that. And we just kind of go through that process over and over and over and build everything up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to set, and I make sound effects, I have to admit.
Oh, good. Me too.
So, yeah. So, okay. So what I do is I'm going to be checking, and this is a muscle, and this is a yes, this is strong, and then this is a weak. Okay. So I'm just going to check and see. We're going to kind of go through, and let me just see. Okay. We can just start here. So I'm going to start with portals. That's good. Portals are like holes in our energy system. So we always check to see if there's holes, because if there's holes, then you can't hold, then we can seal that up and then things get better, right? But you're good there. And let's see where we go. So you're just leading me through here. Okay, so what you want access to is the energy library. Okay, now the energy, this is a cool place. The energy library has all of the healing techniques and modalities and knowledge ever created before, that exists now, that have existed before, and that will exist in the future. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're just going to give you a hit. Okay? So you just get a hit of that energy library. And then we always ask, do we need more information? And we don't right now. And that will lead us to see if there's any ancestral issues associated with this particular thing. Okay? So we don't. So boom. So you're good now. So you got a hit. Ah, yay. Good request. A good request, man. Go right to the good part, right? Okay. Okay. So there is a generational issue. Okay. And just to let you know, what I'm keying into with the muscle testing is your energy field. Okay. And then because we assume that you know exactly what you want, we're going to let your energy field lead us through this.
Oh, good.
So I don't know where we're going, right? There's no prescribed formula here. We're just going to flip around this menu and as you lead us.
Okay.
And all the information that comes up is information that you want yourself to know.
Okay.
That you're revealing, the information is what you're revealing to yourself.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so this generational piece, on your mom's side, it's on your dad's side. And let's see. And I usually just check how many generations ago. So more than 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 generations ago. So that's a while back. And boom, so there's something just some big thing that happened that's affecting everything. Because what happens is, like if we went into, for example, portals where we started, and you had some holes in your energy field, and if you had come up with a generational issue, then it would have been just something that affected that. Yeah. But because this is just this overall thing, that's something on your dad's side of the family, and I don't know if you put in like 15 to 20 years for each generation, right? Sorry. I got carried away.
It's big, right?
Yeah, right. Okay, so now you're good. Okay, so whatever that was. Oh, and let me explain a little bit about that. So Carolyn Cooper, who created this, the way she talks about it is that reality is kind of like a fabric, right? Okay, And these are all the people we're related to. And then these are all the things we inherit. Okay, and some of them are great, you know, talents and abilities and wisdom, right? And some of them are stresses and, you know, pain and suffering kind of thing. So the cool thing is the person who decides they want to heal themselves, she calls it the chain breaker. So this chain breaker who decides they want to go for the healing, if they heal something that was inherited, what it does is it dissolves that whole thread for everybody you're related to. So that is so cool, right? So for 22 generations, you could have thousands of people that you're related to that have been carrying the same burden, right? And now it's been dissolved. So that's the contribution through this work that you're making to the world, really. Isn't that cool?
Yes, it's very cool.
That is so cool.
Yes.
So thank you. So thank you for signing up for this. This is great, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Let's keep going and see what's next. Okay, so there's false beliefs. I love false beliefs. So, and these are just beliefs that are false. You know, like something has to be this way or something has to be that way, or when this happens, that happens. Or, you know, there's so many of them in our culture, right? And so the great part about this kind of healing work is that we don't have to know what it was that created the problem. Like we don't have to know what the false beliefs are. You know, we can just get rid of them. And so it makes it like really fast, but also way more fun because we don't have to go through any false trauma or pin down an incident or anything like that. Because like I said, the unconscious mind is just an on-off switch. So it's sort of like, okay, you know, this is this idea and it's either turned on or turned off. We can just turn it off. Yeah. And we don't even have to know what they are, these false beliefs. Okay, so I'm just going to figure out how many. So 3 false beliefs. So we have 3. Okay, and boom, they're gone. Okay, I told you I make sound effects. Okay, so let's keep going and see what else is related to this issue for you. Okay, energy systems. Okay, this work is really cool because, let's see, hold on a second. This is body systems. Let's do body systems. Okay, body systems. And I'm just going to go through the endocrine system. Okay. And that regulates everything. You know, your adrenals, you know, and your all the, you know, whether you have energy, you don't have energy, your thyroid, that kind of stuff, I think. And let's see. Okay, so we don't need any information with that. So that's good now. Let's see what else. Okay, circulatory system. And this is the, you know, the heart and the lymph system, but also it's your 4th chakra, right? So anything to do, and breathing and breath, right? So all that, important with singing. Okay, don't need any more information, so that's good. We cleared out like an overall generational piece, so we haven't been coming up with more generational stuff yet. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so next, eliminations. Okay, so let's see. Allergies. Do you ever have any issues with allergies?
You know, I didn't think I did, but I've been having like a really dry throat lately and kind of stuff here and my eyes are dry. So maybe that's allergies. I don't know.
I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, we just cleared that a little bit around that out. Let's see. Okay. So, oh, okay, now we get to go to energy systems. Okay, so. Okay, so this system is very cool because we deal with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 energy always have to look them up. This one's called the Celtic Weave.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of a cool one. And this could be, can be why some parts of you work well, and then some other parts might not. Like you said, you had your voice, but you didn't have your hands weren't working, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, the Celtic Weave. Okay, so the Celtic Weave is this network throughout the body, and it's like kind of like the Celtic knot. It just never ends, right? And it kind of keeps all the energy systems in balance and harmony. And so the energy systems she's talking about we have a grid, we have chakras, we have meridians, we have auras, we have our primary rhythm, our radiant circuits, and then we have the Celtic Weave. And so this one kind of is an overall balancing, and it ensures harmony between the systems so they can function smoothly as a single unit. And she says that, it makes energetic communication between the right brain hemisphere and the left brain hemisphere possible. Okay. And let's see, she also thinks it's the main connection between our physical body and spirit. So that's another super cool aspect of it. Another reason that we don't, we want to make sure it's going well. And let's see.
Can I ask a question?
All right. Sure.
So when you're doing these healings, am I feeling things, or is it just releasing and I'm just that? What is that?
It depends. It really depends.
Okay.
Because part of what we're doing again with the drawing here is you are leading us through a process of getting rid of these guys.
Okay, so
basically we're eliminating these.
Okay.
Right. So some of them you're not around yet.
Okay.
But because you have an issue, we're primarily dealing with whatever it was that's right there on the issue.
Okay.
And so the thing is, it's not a lot. This is a really good question, because this kind of energy healing is not like sometimes you go to like a retreat and you have a big aha, and everything shifts, right?
Yeah.
But what happens often with those is after a couple of weeks, we kind of go back to where we were. It's like really hard to maintain that really high energy, right? So this is more like, I guess, more peeling of the onion. It's kind of like, okay, we get rid of these things.
Yes.
And what will happen is things that were hard become like automatic, like not even easy. We don't even think about it. So suddenly like if we had a project that we put off for a long time because we had something about it that was hard, we'll find ourselves having done it. And then we'll look back and go, oh, wow, I just did that with no issue.
Thinking about
right?
It.
Yeah, and wow, that's cool. And that's really the way that this kind of work is. It's kind of hard sometimes for people because they don't like immediately get some big, aha thing. But at the same time, you can see your progress moving through, because it's like, oh gosh, I've been trying to get that done for a month, and boom, I got it done like in a minute, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. That's kind of what it's like, because these guys aren't there anymore. And so we just kind of keep rolling.
Okay.
It's like somebody lifted the gate, and we're just like, we go through and we don't even notice the gate was there,
Okay.
Okay, so that was a really great question. Okay, so let's keep going and see what we can. Oh, so now we can close some portals. So we've peeled the onion back. We've got your Celtic Weave together now.
Okay.
So now there's some portals we can close. And let's see. So 6 portals, and this is good. So these are like holes in our energy field, and so that keep us from holding energy. Okay, so don't need any more information. Boom. Okay. So let's keep going. So good. Those are close. So it should be easier for you to kind of have, like you said, you couldn't find yourself maybe, that might have been because you weren't able to hold the energy that you needed to hold. So that should help with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So another energy system. Let's see. Your radiant circuits. Let's do that one. Okay. Okay, so radiant circuits. So radiant circuits are like the inner mom, okay? They keep all the other energy circuits on task, okay? And it says because like a good mother, the radiant circuits put forth the effort to maintain a pleasant spirit in the home, which is us, right? And so they function to ensure that all the energy systems are working harmoniously and keeping balance. What these guys will do is if there's a hole in your energy system, they'll kind of fill it up, right? And make up for any kind of issues that are going on, right? So when these kind of go out, right, then sometimes there's issues about motherhood, which could mean issues like with our own mother, or being a mother, or just something around that. So it's like a family, the mothering piece. Okay. So you might want to reflect if that's been an issue or come up recently for you around having any. I know you love your mom. Your mom is awesome, right? And so if there's any way, anything around maybe even not feeling like you could do as good a job as your mom, If we have a great mom, sometimes it's a lot of pressure to be a great mom, right? So just any one of those things could be rolling around in all of this, or even as you're talking about performing, if there's some aspect of performing that is related to nurturing, then an issue like this could come up.
Yeah, I think I'm a caretaker in that way.
Yeah, so then there's, so what this is saying is there's some kind of an issue there, and let's just check. And this one happens to be generational, so it's not even something that you're even responsible for, or that is even contemporary into your life, right? And so let's see how many. It's your mom's. It's on your dad's side again. Let's see how many generations. So that's 27 generations back. So there's something about that. Some mother thing happened, like major mother thing happened 27 generations ago that is affecting you now, or was. Because we get to clear that.
Yeah, I had
So
a psychic reading in Portugal about mothering that blew me away. And I had no recollection, but it was a past life thing that came up. And it made a lot of sense to me because I don't have children today. And in this past life thing, I had like 9 children, and my husband was like nowhere around. And so I was feeling this hatred towards my husband, and I remember in my 20s, I didn't like this man that loved me wanted to be with me and have family, and I just felt like that was death for me, like that so many women long for. It was death and enslavement. And I don't know if that's the generation, but I definitely was like, oh my God, I had that many children. And so that's why I don't feel that loss that so many women do this lifetime. Like I know I have children, like they're all around me, so it's interesting because so many women long for that. But I don't. I'm like, I actually have a total fear of getting pregnant, right? Like it's up there with, all this fear of death, fear of pregnancy is like right up there. So I don't know, maybe that's something but the caretaking piece of it, and balancing taking care of myself and taking care of even my students, just finding that way, maybe something around there. Yeah.
So there's something original in there, and then it may have really maybe that incident or hooked into that incident even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that incident could have been an exacerbation of this, you know, this kind of trend in the family, this generational tendency, or actually it's generational trauma, put it that way. So, so then we can remove that. So that's good. So you have just, for 27 generations, you've just like cleared out a whole bunch of people. That's really awesome. Yay, really, right? Okay, so let's keep going. More false beliefs. Woohoo! So, okay, let's see. Wow, 11 false beliefs. So there's 11 false beliefs. That's a lot at one time. So that means you've really, that mothering piece was big. And yeah, so that's really good. Okay, whew, that's good. Okay, more energy systems. Okay, let's see. Primary rhythms. We're just kind of doing a big energy system healing today. What page is that? 73. Okay. This one's fun. And actually, this one really has a lot to do with your work. Okay. Nice. So this is cool. Yeah. So the primary rhythm has to do a lot with, like, she calls it the music of your soul. Right? Yeah. And it has to do with the rhythm, not just the rhythm of the planet, you know, the rhythm of the seasons, right? But let's see what she says. That just as like each season of year has like its own unique rhythm, we have the gift of our own unique core rhythm. The vibration of this rhythm runs throughout all our other energy systems. And she says, like a mother's lullaby is calming and stabilizing for her child, a person's primary rhythm is a stabilizing foundation for all the other energy systems. You could say it is the background music in the movie of your life. Isn't that cool?
Well, that's like my chapter. I have a book on mothering yourself, and I talk about that exact thing, and then people write their own lullaby. So it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's quite synchronistic.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so cool. And let's see. And this also has an aspect, right? And it says, this energy system is like your own personal drummer whose cadence keeps you in balance. And stress and trauma can disrupt this beat. And this particular rhythm is also related to mother relationships with mother, because it's very primary. And when we train, you know, with our mother in the womb and all that stuff, you know, it's sort of relationships with mom or children can affect our primary rhythm. And then she also says the person's primary rhythm is spiritual in nature, meaning it is the vibration of our true authentic spirit. It overrides physical traits inherited from our parents as well. So that's really cool. Okay, so let's clear that. Let's see, generational, do we need more information? No, that's good. Okay. Woohoo. All right. So that's good. So then we cleared out some of this other stuff. Then we can start, you know, getting into this piece, right, of your own. I love this as like, you know, the, kind of the background music of the movie of our life. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, so let's see where we go now. Okay, we get to do some self-worth affirmations.
No.
Okay. And these are good for you to write down. So here you go in terms of these would be the kinds of things.
Should I get something to write down with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a journal actually for an Easter gift.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I have a whole
great.
collection. Yeah, it's so sweet.
Cool.
Yeah. So even like a little it was so sweet. This the whole thing, and I just
how cool.
Sweet. Yeah, it was such a sweet surprise. and she even got me these pens with it too. I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow, cool. How neat.
Well, yeah, and when I do my coaching work, I write, and I do a lot of writing. And so I was like, oh my God, she didn't know I was doing this. So it's so great.
How neat.
Yeah. So, okay, so I just have to be able to open it. This is the hardest part here. I get so excited I can't open the darn pens. Okay, maybe I won't open them yet. I'll write with this.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Okay. Okay, so let's see where we go.
Okay.
Okay, it is safe for me to give unconditional love. And this, I'm sure, has to do with your performance, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. This is generational. So this is generational piece. And this is on your mom's side. 11 generations.
Ah.
Okay. And so that, you know, to me, it's always a relief to find out if something is like me. Is it me? Or if it's something else.
Yeah, you know, that piece about the rejection is so interesting, because it's when I'm giving in the smallest way, it's my like unconditional love piece, right? And then when I feel it not come back, like not received, then I immediately feel rejected. And so, but I think that even deeper, it's safe for me to give that unconditional love, right? Like that's the heart of it.
Yeah.
So when I get more comfortable, like if other people aren't able to receive me, it doesn't matter, because I'm giving myself that unconditional love. And so much of my music is all about that. My songs are all about that. And I'm so annoyed. I'm like, I can't not write a song about it. That's what I want, because then I'm in that space. That's what I want to sing about, right? I want to sing about that. So that's great. Thank you.
So this is great. Okay. And so, yeah. So it is safe for me to give unconditional love. That's great. Okay, let's see. And what's next? Okay. And I am worthy to receive unconditional love. Right?
Yeah.
That's the other piece.
Yeah.
And that one doesn't have a generational piece to it, so we can just clear that. Okay. And let's see what else. Okay, here we go. My opinion matters. So there you go, right?
That's probably the biggest one of the. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So this is, say we need more information. This is on your mom, generational on your mom's side. I'm 11, so this is the same generation. There's a trauma in this generation about safety and around unconditional love and around your opinion mattering or not, if it mattered or not. Yeah, okay. So that's good. Okay, ooh, this is good.
Yeah, and there's one, you know, I mean, I love conversing with people so much, but I'm so, even with my students, I'm so afraid to give my opinion, right? Because I don't want to affect their path. But sometimes it's necessary and really can be helpful to have that, right? So that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And always remember that your students are attracted to you.
Yeah. I know.
And that's the most important thing. So there's something about your outlook, your energy that they're energetically attracted to. And so you're giving your opinion or actually sharing your knowledge and wisdom, is maybe how I would phrase it, sharing your wisdom, right, is what they're looking for. And they've been attracted to you for that reason, right?
Yeah.
So that's always important to remember. Okay, so here we go. This one is, hold on a second. Okay, I am worthy of healthy relationships.
I'm worthy of healthy relationships.
Yeah, I am worthy of healthy relationships. Okay, so that's what happens is in our development, if we have these other things that kind of cloud our thinking, then we develop our own ideas. So if we, for example, go back to my opinion matters, if we don't believe that, then we may not, then the kind of the fallout from that is maybe not feeling worthy, right? And so we have this generational issue that comes up that blocks, that gives us this kind of, I would say false belief about something. And then we develop our own, response to that, right? So this would be a response type of thing. So say, I am worthy of healthy relationships. And I need any more information on that. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, let's go somewhere else. We got a bunch of cool affirmations out of that.
Yeah.
Really good information. Okay, we're going to go to the back of the page. The back of the page is kind of like where I've taken this work and evolved it a little bit, and what just the things that I've come up with from other places that I kind of insert in this. So we'll just see. Oh, okay. So this is that quote, it says that you'll never solve a problem using kind of the same thinking that created it, right? So that's kind of up for you. So maybe a way that you're addressing an issue the same way every time, right?
Yes.
And it's not working.
Yes.
So let's see. So this is generational, actually, okay? On your mom's side. M11, so it's that same generation. So that was a very big, if it comes up like 3 times in one session, that means that was a big deal whenever that happened. And it left a reverberation through your family, right? Whatever that happened in that generation.
On my mom's
So on your mom's side. And 11 generations is quite a bit of time. I'm trying to think, I had a chart here. Let's see what she says. So that was in, it's 275 years ago, 1736.
Wow.
So whatever was going on in your family, that was before the birth of the United States, at least. It was before 1776. So, whatever was going on wherever you were was a big deal. Okay. And it's really, because we have 3 fallout issues just from that one generation. And it's interesting to look at the 3 things. So they are, this whole idea about, just trying the same solution over and over if it's not working. And one is that the first one was it was safe to give unconditional love and it was worthy of receiving. And then the next one was your opinion mattering. So these things, tie together somehow through this generational trauma, right? Kind of interesting. These are like interesting things to contemplate, and you may come up and see, oh, okay, how these things have affected you in your life. Like, oh, my opinion does matter. Right when you're up there on stage, that's all about, hey, this is my song. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe in that particular generation, maybe I had too much, I think that maybe there was too much of that opinion. You know what I mean? Like maybe it was, one extreme or the other,
Well, and the thing was, it didn't even have to be too much. It was, there are some times in the world, in some places, where any opinion, you know, if you're dealing with a monarchy or you're dealing with some kind of,
or
you know, where,
right? If you were, and that's probably what, I mean, that's the sense that I get as I spoke out against something big like the church, right? And, I mean, that's the common like cliche, but I think, you know, using your voice,
yeah,
it's really, you know, it's like death if you know,
right.
think about speaking or singing your truth, and it's like, oh my God, you're gonna, and then that fear comes up. I think that that really has, and that's where the desire comes. It's like, I want to transcend this because my opinion matters and my truth matters, and it aligns me
Yeah.
with the truth of who I am, right?
And actually, at that period of time, I just kind of got a hit that this could have to do with your hands too, because, you know, in those days, they would just like, you know, smash your hand or, you know, I mean, they would do stuff like that, right, to people.
Exactly. I know. I did a drawing from in my Odyssey program years ago where my hands were like deaf, you know, like dumb deaf hands. Like they weren't, not that deaf is dumb, but like they weren't working with the body. And actually there was like a dictator figure. It was like a dictator figure and the hands were all out of whack. And I didn't know what it meant, but yeah, something
I
like,
wonder if we're cluing in on this piece. Yeah. So we get to clear this. Woo, yes. Okay. We like clearing stuff, you know? Clearing stuff is fun.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is, just to give you a heads up, it is 4:06, and I have a sense that you know, you can go on, and you're welcome to, but I just want to keep track of the time and keep aware of the bounds.
Okay. Okay.
So if you
okay, so we'll just see if there's any, we'll just ask for like one or two more
that's fine.
bits of information that'll be critical for this. Okay, super cool. I know. And thank you, because I asked you to help me keep it together here. So, okay, so we're getting the color yellow, which is the intellect. And let's see, generational on your mom's side or your dad's side. So your mom's side, again, the intellect was affected, okay? Or maybe your faith in your own intellect, okay? Let's see. It's the same thing, that M11, that's amazing. So that has a, you know, an aspect in this piece, right?
Yeah. And
wow.
What's so interesting is that your name, Kathleen, it's my mom's name, right? So like somehow this I mean, it's just it's amazing, the synchronicity and the, you know, like it's all divinely orchestrated, and it's such a mystery, but yet like there's that ancestral and familial connection. So yeah, which I'm surprised.
And that's, yeah.
I'm surprised that so much stuff has happened with my mom's side, because my dad was the one that there were so many outright, you know, issues with. And I'm really close with my mom. And even this time, I asked her when I visited her, I said, Mom, I'd really like you to record some things about our past, because she told me some stories about her ancestors. And we had never talked about that. It'd always been on my dad's side. And I was like, I want to remember this and I want to know this. And so we started that process, but there's a lot more to go to learn.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. So that, yeah, so there, you know, this could be partially because of that, or maybe it stirred up some stuff around that, and then you go to perform, and then,
yeah.
Wow, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that could be. So I'm just going to check here again and see if we need, and let's go to the last little wrap this up thing that we could use. Okay, body systems. We're back to the circulation again. Okay, so we get to open up some more in the heart chakra too, right? And breathing. Let's see. So this is generational piece. This one's on your dad's side. 16 generations. Okay. Clear that up. Okay, that's it. That was the last little piece you wanted to get.
Okay.
There's this cool little kind of finishing statement. That's really sweet. I'm gonna have to get this down. I usually have a different tripod, okay, but because I'm in somebody else's house, I couldn't get it set up right, and so this one obviously is not. I'm gonna follow Einstein saying and not do this one again, okay? Okay, so so the little thing that we say at the end is, I release on all layers and all levels any negative thoughts, emotions, and feelings that have surfaced during this session. I willingly let go of stubbornness, resistance, and any hindrance that encumbers me. I allow, accept, and receive light and truth and the love, forgiveness, and joy necessary to achieve my fullest potential.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh,
Boom.
Thank you. That was so wonderful.
Yeah.
So powerful. It's interesting because it's so seemingly subtle, like I said, because I'm such a bodily kinesthetic person, and like you said, you can have these experiences that are so, you just feel like you've been altered completely. And so I'm really glad you said what you said, because and as you went deeper with it, I was like, yeah, there's just things that I can't get to, and I, you know, I just don't, it's not what I've learned to do. And like you said, also like trying to solve the problem. I mean, I have wonderful tools for the scope of healing work that I do, but it's only the scope that I do, right? And I've been called to do, right? So it's really nice to get that. And so I'm just welcoming, you know, to be open. And it's interesting because when I think about performing, or I think about, like, even tomorrow, I'm like, I'm not playing a song. I'm not there yet to play that and model that for my students, but I am going to play Happy Birthday at the end, because there's a kid.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And I started to think in my mind, oh my God, how I have to make it sound like, you know, like it's a really good version of it. And it was like, well, just show up and play Happy Birthday, like get the energy going of it. And so I think like what you're saying about simplifying things, I'm like, so what, right? You're on Zoom. Yeah, it's Happy Birthday. Yeah, you're really hard on getting the coolest version of Happy Birthday. But even that lightness, it's like, that's what I'm seeking, is to lighten the load. Like just let it go. Just let it go, right? Just let it go. Let your mind release and let go. So thank you very much. I really
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
That was really wonderful. So are we ready to shift gears?
Yeah. Let me plug in though. I just need to make sure won't run out of juice on this.
Okay, sure.
So do you want to take just a few minute break?
We could. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just take a few minutes. Stop the recording and then we'd have yours and mine separate. Yeah. Okay. So
okay.
So I'll do that, and then we'll come. Okay, so this is my Odyssey of Song program, and this is something that I developed, and based on my book, An Odyssey of Song, and actually I'll show you some of the pictures because this is my original book, and
oh, cool.
Yeah, so, but this is a compilation of the healing work that I did, especially when I was living in Portugal years ago, which is when I did my work with the energy systems and the chakras. And I did the sound healing conference, and I was studying Carolyn Mace, and it's very Jungian. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap into your energy field. And so what I discovered about this work is that it's a structure, right? It's a structure that I can walk people through, because people like, oh, something tangible, right? There's a structure.
Right.
within that structure, and which is what I do anyway. And through the voice is I'm going to tap into where it is we need to go and then give you exercises based on that. But I kind of want to take you in this direction because it's a fun adventure, and the voice is so connected to the whole energetic field, right? And so a lot of the things that you were working with me are like, oh my God, this is like related to this. And so anyway, so that's what I want to do. So I'm going to start out with a quote, and this is by a man named Philip Toshio Sudo. And he says, we are here. And what I want you to do as I'm reading this quote is I just want you to feel how it feels in your body to hear this. And just sit with it and see if there's any places within your body that you feel something, okay? So we are here to make a sound. It is the sound of the divine spark within us all, like the cry of a child or the howl of a wolf. It transcends language and culture. It is the sound that drives the dance of life. So
that kind of gave me chills, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of down the back of my neck. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't have to go into great explanation. I just want you to be aware, because singing is such a kinesthetic experience. Yesterday I was on this radio show that I co-hosted last year, and I could see that the difference of everybody said amazing things, but I could see myself, and I was like, my energy just pours forth through the voice, right? And so, but that's part of freeing your voice, is allowing that energy to come forth. And so, and everybody expresses in different ways, but if you feel a desire to sing, then there's a desire to free that energy, right? From the throat chakra, but it's also from the heart chakra, and sometimes it's even lower, you know what I mean? So it'll be fun to explore how that kind of presents itself. So in terms of the singing part of it and finding your voice, is there any sort of intention that you have? You talked about wanting to free your voice, and you talked about the critic too. Is there any sort of intention? And I really like what you talked about of focusing on what you want more of. Like, what is it that you, so focusing on the positive. You already use your voice, you've done podcasting and radio, and you use it every day in your work. But what in particular, and maybe about the singing voice, that the desire is there? What is that intention with that?
Yeah, so what I see in my mind, is I have this voice. I could do 3 or 4 notes here, then 3 or 4 notes here, and then 3 or 4 notes here. But there's these big gaps.
Yes.
And so I'd love to fill those gaps, because what it does is it's kind of like it's almost like changing gears, sort of like you're driving along and all of a sudden you have to change gears to go up here, but you don't have an intermediate place to go. So you kind of drag it out here, and then you kind of grab it up here, and then, and it stops kind of the flow because you can't get there.
Yes, and that actually, in singing, there's a word for that, and those are called bridges in your voice. And so what you can do when you sing is you can learn to blend there's the chest voice and there's the head voice, right? And so you can learn to blend those. But when you're first starting out, and we'll do some exercises today to find those places, because one of the things that you can do is you can start to tone into those spaces. And what's really interesting is when I did the sound healing work in Europe, that we went to this place, and it's a program called the Tomatis program. And so what they do is they actually measure the frequencies that you can hear, and if there's trauma in your experience, then you actually shut out from being able to hear those frequencies. And so they have they do it based on the father and the mother side, right? So you get to hear certain frequencies. So that's why, like when I'm doing the work, and some people say they're really high up on that higher range and they're comfortable there, but then I say to go low. Well, there might be some frequencies of, you know, some sort of trauma or, you know, yelling or something that happened that shuts you off. So if you can't hear that frequency, it's hard to recreate it with the voice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So so it's kind of fun. And as I'm saying these things, because some of these things I'm saying are totally new to me at times, and other times they're just the process of it. So it'll be fun to see how that how that goes. But we'll work with those bridges in your voice, and then there'll be some exercises, and with the recording, then you could practice them. You know, we have our recordings.
Right.
Okay. So I have in the work, I have what's called the peace practice. And so this is a daily practice that you do to show up for your voice. And the first thing, of course, is the breath, right? Like the breath of life is really important. So inhaling and exhaling provides that rhythm necessary to sustain life. And through the stress of through the stress of trying to keep
this is like so slick.
Yes.
I know.
So one thing I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to how you use your voice and the register that you're working at when you are speaking, right? So I notice when you're speaking that it's definitely a lower range that you stay within, right? And so so we're going to work on that expansion, right? That energetic expansion through the voice, but it starts with the breath, right? So
I'm going to have to give up on that one.
Makeshift tripod, huh?
Really, I had my tripod that worked so great, and I just don't have it today. So
since you did all that great work on me, I'm like, yeah, we're all good. I knew this was going to be a good thing.
Yeah, there we go. I'm just like trying to find something sticky. I think what happened is I put some lotion on my hands and I touched my phone and it made it really slick. Okay. Let's try that.
We're also talking about feeling scattered at times. So this practice can help getting, in terms of getting centered, getting you centered. And so when we are breathing, that deep inhalation transfers the oxygen to the cells and releases the unnecessary toxins from our bodies. And what we do is we learn that diaphragmatic breathing or the belly breathing. And the reason that I'm doing this with my hands is because we're teaching, and you can see, usually I stand up for this. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, you can see. When I'm breathing, right, that my ribs are expanding as I right? So my shoulders stay down, but my ribs expand. And if I pull my stand up, I can, so you're inhaling. So the key is that rhythm. So a lot of times if you can put your hands there, and as you inhale, you can feel that expansion. You can even feel it in the back. So what you can do is you start to practice this rhythmic breathing technique before you open your voice to speak or to sing, so that you just get in the habit of doing that.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now the other piece of it is that when you're breathing, you can also do it with your hands so that you can teach your ribs. So as I'm going, it's like an accordion. So as I breathe in with my hands, I'm breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I hold it. So you have those two techniques. You could do it with your hands or here, or you can do it with your hands here. And so the breath of life, what we need to do in order to sing is we have to get into the rhythm within our own body, because singing is a whole body experience. It's not from here up. That's what people think. Oh, well, I can't sing. They do. But the singing the breath of it comes from here, and the roots of it, you know, the foundation is from here, right? So the exercise that I like to do to start out with is we just inhale for 4 beats, right? So you feel that expansion, and whether you're standing or sitting right now, you know, I'm sitting, but I can stand if that would be helpful. And then just making sure when you're singing that your head is kind of pushed back a little bit. This is really good for posture too, that you're pushing your head back, your shoulders are down, but your ribs are going to do this kind of motion to expand, right? So what I'm going to do is we're going to inhale for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that kind of, you can practice that. Now, if you feel like you can expand more, then you start to do that. You could do 6 beats, you could do 8 beats. And another thing with the singing is as you exhale, we can start out with making like a snake sound, right? So if you exhale, and one thing you want to do is actually exhale all that air out. So let's just do a big exhale, and you can use the voice too and just go, and that's actually called a song siren. And so it's going through all those tones. So you're talking about wanting to expand, you know, how that expansion is, you go through all those pitches and you go from the high to the low. And you can also do it with your hands. So as you breathe in, and then what your voice is doing is it's going down the elevator, right? But the best thing about it is it's very cathartic. And so if you're like, oh my gosh, because I know for a long time I felt really strangled with my voice. And so if I could just free it, like, and it was just like, so there's something very healing about hitting all those ranges, but not having to sing. Like in the beginning, it's really that sound. Right? It's not, we're not judging what it sounds like. We just, the goal is to go as high as right? Yeah. And then one of the things, as you get that rhythmic breathing and then you do that song siren, is if there are places in your voice that you were talking about, like it's like it's squeaky, right? And so it's like like jumping the track. So what we can do is we can actually tone into the spaces. So if you're doing like right there was a little place that my voice went then I and I can tone into that space, because it's not only that there is, you know, getting that breath support in the technical piece of it, but there's something energetically blocking that vibration. So, and what's nice is, it's easier to do it live than on Zoom. In fact, I haven't tried on Zoom, but my voice works like a tuning fork. So if you're going down and you're doing then what I can do is I can use my voice and I can help fill in those gaps.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how does it feel? How does it feel when I would say, okay, can you do that siren by yourself? Can I hear you do that siren?
Oh, well, it feels a little embarrassing.
Okay. So I'm not going to ask you to do that, but that's the process, right? Is that okay? So what we're working to do is we're working to bring out the full range and palette of your voice, and the very most important work in this whole process is to love the whole range, the whole self reflected in the voice, because the voice is very archetypal in nature. And so if there are parts of the personality that have been relegated to the shadow, then they get the shadow part of the voice. Right? So if that higher, more feminine part is, you know, in the shadow, then that part of it is going to be harder to access. And then there's the actual muscle memory of it. Oh, my voice doesn't go to that place because I don't have a memory of going to that space, right? But this is also, like we talked about, that marriage of the masculine and the feminine within our own being. And so we know we are in wholeness of that. And we have certain proclivities. My proclivity is quite high. And I did a workshop one time in freeing my voice, where I think I told you, where my voice was freed and it traveled all around the room, and it was in this high pitch, and I didn't even like it. Was too high for me. Like,
oh, wow.
But it affected everybody in the environment, and I got a standing ovation, which I rarely have gotten in my life. And so what was happening? But I could see they were touched. They were affected and healed by my voice, because it went into a space where there was a portal, and it just went over.
Oh, wow.
So that's the thing, is that your voice, the way we've been conditioned about our voice, is that we have all these imprints of conditioning that we put on the voice. And the voice does not want that. The voice wants to be free. And in fact, the voice needs to be free for the healing of the whole energy system to work in alignment. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm writing this down because this is really cool. Wow. Okay.
And it's funny because the work, again, that you did with me is helping me to realize, like, I'm somebody who's like, oh, well, I don't really know that much about this subject. And then it's like, oh my God, this is what you've come to do, right? So it's really interesting how, oh, your opinion, that's not even the opinion, but it's opening that portal. But the voice is it. It's
wow.
incredible. And so the process is to begin listening and paying attention to how your voice is expressing. And there is that concept of the inner versus the outer voice. And so outer voice is the one that other people hear, and we hear ourselves when we have the recording. The inner voice is actually the true voice that wants to express. And so, like, I had the example, I think I told you, but one client went through the Odyssey of Song, and he was this African-American Black guy, and he did this picture. One of the pictures he did in the book was of this reggae guy, and he's got the dreadlocks. Right. He really liked Bob Marley. Well, the song that he wrote, he wanted it to be that, but his voice and his energy was singing this country song. And so it was like, wow. So it's really the ego has, and it is such a, it's such a sadness, because the ego has put such a clamp on our voices because of American Idol, and because, are you a singer? And if you're not, then you don't sing.
Right.
You're a shower singer, you're a car singer. Oh no, but I don't sing, right? But this singing is very integral to the energetic blueprint of who you are. Right? So I call this journey finding your song, or an Odyssey of Song, but really what it is, it's about reclaiming your essence, which your voice is the vehicle to express the fullness of who you truly are in the wholeness of who you are. That makes sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, I think I was attracted to you because it's sort of like I sort of realized that it's a way, it's something that's it's kind of like a birthright that I can't access.
It is.
Yeah. Well, right? Okay,
Yeah, but let's stop there, because that can't accessing is where the problem lies, right? So how can that be shifted? Instead of I can't access, now what is the possibility? What would those words be from your inner voice? What would your inner voice say?
About what's going on with it?
Yeah, well, with that, I can't access. What does your inner voice say about that? I'm willing. I'm open.
Well, it just feels like it's something that, like I said, it's like a birthright. That's really what, it's like, really.
So this is your mantra. It is my birthright to sing. Yes? It is my birthright to sing. How does that feel?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Okay.
So, yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So what I want you to do with that is I want you to explore through your voice that mantra. Right?
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
in privacy, you don't have to do it in front of anybody, but you could record it if you wanted to, just so you could hear back and document. Because when I heard my voice on the tape recorder for the very first time, or digital recorder, whatever it was, I was like, oh my God, that's me, right?
Wow.
So it's like it's reacquainting yourself in this way. And when I learned about the voice and how important it was to love the voice, I realized, wow, there are parts of it that I don't love, right? I can't love. So if you explore that, it is my birthright, right? It's not that I love to sing or but it is my birthright to sing. And so I'd like to see how that could be explored, and whether you say it or you sing it, or you just take those words and you really embody, it is my birthright to sing, right? And even just saying that, and you can see as I say sing, I'm lifted, right? Sing, and my openness, right, to sing, because it brings so much joy, right? So you can explore that and be really playful with that and see how that feels as you explore that, and just pay attention, right? It's not about judging, it's just paying attention. Oh, when I say it up here, it's my birthright to, oh, then it feels a certain way when I say it down here. Or, oh, I'm going to move it's my birthright to sing, right? Then you're like, are you trying to be playful with it? It's my birthright to sing, right? Can you get that energy of, just pulling on the character of what gives you permission that it is truly your right to sing. And so right is two ways. Right is, it's your right, like you have the right, but it's right to sing.
Right.
The right thing to do to sing, right? And then as you free that more and more, then your energy is going to be modeling that more and more, right? That it's like, oh, I'm free to express through the voice in the way that feels natural and good to me, right? And so one of the things with my voice is I really have learned to love the sound of my voice, because it soothes me, right? I will listen to the same CD that I made years ago in the car, and it's what I'll choose over and over again because it soothes me. It's my station, it's my vibration. So if we can open you to a point where you find those places in your voice that you want to go to inspire, to soothe, then what you're doing is you're aligning vibrationally with the source energy and with your own essence, your blueprint, and you're getting vibrationally on the right station. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What I'm finding interesting is I'm sitting here and all of a sudden we start talking about my voice and I'm getting really tired. I'm like,
I know.
So there's something, so it's interesting, that, there's some aspect of it that is, causing that, like what do you call it, unconscious thing. It's whoa.
Yeah, going to sleep.
It is,
right? Okay, so here's
that's a stress response.
Okay, so something. My poem in
Okay.
the beginning of the book is called Wake Up.
Okay.
To you, okay? So it says,
Okay.
wake up. Voices are calling you to wake up. Wake up to your life. Strum that guitar, tickle those piano keys, open your mouth wide and sing the sweet songs of your life. Dance your most ecstatic dreams. The ocean of life is moving swiftly through you. Catch the wave. Wake up, let your soul dance in the mystery, become part of the symphony. Sing, paint, and sculpt your life how you dream it to be. Feel the rapture of being alive, the poignant pricking of each day as it is plucked from Earth's garden like petals on a wild flower. There's no way to stop the wheel. Our physical bodies will perish, unless, of course, it's you, that I may live for 200 years. It is the natural cycle of life. Wake up. Sing the songs that burn brightly in your soul. We are nothing and we are all. We are flames and we are ashes. We are living and dying every moment. Awaken to your song. It is where you will discover your creative dreams and your deepest heart.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that. It really hit. Yeah, I really like, there was a line you said, which was sing, paint, and sculpt your life.
How you dream.
You know, so yeah, as it is to be, right? You know, as you wish it to be, right? And
yeah.
That's so cool. I like that.
And the thing is, to me, music is a metaphor. Singing is a metaphor. When I teach people to sing, I teach them to express their creative essence. And so it might be singing through a paintbrush. It might be singing through, cooking in the kitchen. It might be singing through making love, whatever it is. But we sing as a metaphor of expressing the whole love, basically, of who we are, right? The whole, because when I sing, it's a lullaby to myself. I sit there and I sing these songs I've written about love, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so soothing to me. And then when I watch other people and they have their eyes closed and they're rocking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're just holding each other in this loving cradle of vibration.
Wow.
And so, but that's what I want. That's what I want you to know is the gift for you, that your voice can be that healing cradle, that your voice can soothe you and can awaken you, can stimulate you. And so I get to stand in for that role. Like you were saying, my energy is guiding the process. Well, your energy is guiding the process, right? But I get to stand in as your voice until you step in and begin to embody that, right? So my voice is that one voice. It's it's that universal voice. And because there is love in my voice, there's like you said, I mean, people are attracted to me because I love them. I just exude love through my voice and my expression. And so it just reminds people, it just holds them. But the beauty of it is we can do that for ourselves. We can, through this process, you can learn to do that for you, but opening up and little by little. And I think that's all I'm going to do with those exercises today, because I'm getting a sense that that's enough. You know what I mean? That's enough to.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the reaction I'm having. I mean, it's sort of like, I'm loving what you're saying, but man, I'm like,
well,
there's like a, something that's like really, it's making it difficult. And so just to even conceive of all this, right? It's like this, I'm like, oh, wow,
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty. And my energy, the way I exude and teach and come across when I'm full on, well, that's because you did the healing work with me. So responsibility for that. But when I'm channeling that energy, and that's what I was so afraid of for so long, is like, oh my God, I'm scared of my own energy but that's how it heals, right? So, but I realize how potent it is. And so you take it and you work with it. And sometimes it doesn't even feel good in the moment. Sometimes it brings things up, and but that's all part of the process too, you know.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, it's interesting. I think the thought that came to me around voice is there was a lot of, it just reminds me of my parents. My parents would, well, different language, like they would speak in English, to us and everything, but they would speak Spanish and fight when they were fighting
Whoa.
with each other. So it was interesting, and it was always very loud, but I think I understood Spanish when I was little, but I haven't been able to understand it again. And even though I studied it, I get a little bit of it, but so there's something about voices and loud voices and stuff like that, that's kind of, triggering a little bit. And so it's interesting that, I have this desire, but also this kind of difficulty, right, at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. But see, that's that energetic space of like, oh, giving, letting those voices on the outside be stronger than the inner voice on the inside.
Right,
And
right,
so
right.
this process is about really listening to that inner voice and doing that work so that that inner voice grows stronger. And then with that inner voice grows that, oh, I can hold that space, right? So I get to play the role of a parent in this, energetic setup that we have. So
Yeah,
there can
yeah,
be healing with that, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. Well,
So
somebody needs to hold the space, of possibility,
yeah. Well,
right?
yeah. And it's so great because you and I are both so authentic and revealing about our process, like how it affects us and how it, and so it's really good because I think the more that we are willing to communicate that, but also stay with it and then say, okay, I've had enough, or, oh, and then just work with that because, there's, I think, the exchange of what's happening is very powerful, and recognizing that we have different ways of transmuting and healing, but they're both very powerful, and that there's
Hmm. Hmm.
mutual energetic exchange that's happening in this dialogue that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so what's my homework? Tell me again.
So your homework, I think, is a couple things. One is the breath. One is that rhythmic breathing and the song siren, right? So all you have to do
Hmm.
is start at your highest range and go to your lowest range. And you just do that every day, right? And you have fun with it. You get your body into it and you get very playful about it, right?
Okay.
And so if you and one thing, even before you get out of bed, practice 10 deep long breaths, and with that, practice the intention that you have for your voice that day, right? Like what it's
Oh, okay.
so give your daily intention for the voice and then show up. The breath work you can do all day long, the song siren,
Hmm.
and then that beautiful affirmation, it is my birthright to sing. And then just
Yeah,
playfully exploring that mantra.
that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
That is great. Yeah.
And
Oh,
then pay
cool.
attention to your energy. And I mean, you've had a lot going on too, but just pay attention to that energy and when it dissipates and when it feels full when you're using your voice. When you're using
Yeah,
your voice.
yeah. I was surprised. I mean, it was really, as you're talking, and I'm just like, wait, what's
I know,
that
I'm like,
about?
oh no, I put
That's
her to
it.
sleep.
No, that's a stress response.
Yeah.
So it's like there is some stress
Around it.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and mine is probably a stress response too, to protect myself, right? Like, oh,
Hmm.
so it's interesting that we're
Yeah,
supporting each other to break down these walls and
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Because, yeah, so since, yeah, so, you know, glad that happened so I can be aware of it, you know, and not like lose myself to it, to the stress response.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
Yeah. And you were
yeah,
mirroring back the thing that was happening with me is like some voice energy on the outside was dictating my own energy, right? Like why is this happening? But there's a certain frequency of the voice. There's a certain, that it just hones in and it hits our system in a way. And sometimes we are just like just flattened by it. And I
wow,
totally get it. So, but what my work is to recognize that I need to honor the healing role that I'm
yeah,
playing, right?
yeah,
And that's all, because that's what I'm here to be, is to stand in and to be that. So I don't have to pull my energy back for you to, gain the
right,
healing,
right.
right?
Yeah, so you don't have to, yeah, so that's the thing, it's about noticing what's going on, but not taking, like, you don't have to take responsibility for it. It's sort
Oh,
of like, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
right.
this is very
And so,
exciting.
yeah,
Yeah, this is very exciting.
yeah.
And so what would you like me to do with these recordings? What do you want me to just send it to you? Do you want to put it up on YouTube? I don't have consistent
Yeah.
my YouTube. Um, I don't know. Do you
I'm
want
just I'm just kind of getting my YouTube is really my go-to place where I put stuff. So, yeah, that's right. Would be my, because I don't really have a website. I
Okay.
don't have a
Okay.
website.
Okay.
So I've been using YouTube as my kind of place where people can go. And then eventually I'll probably have a Facebook group or something that I'll put together, a page.
Okay. Well,
So, but yeah, I'd like to look at it. I thought the last one was really good.
yeah.
I really liked it.
The,
Yeah.
the last which one?
The recording we did, the
Oh yeah.
previous one.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
know. I thought so too. The podcast, you mean? The
Yeah,
podcast.
the podcast. Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
so too. And actually, the producer, I'm doing this. I'm going to do a little mini series on the radio, and I'm coaching this radio producer, and he was listening back to it, and he said, "Yeah, that the sound quality was really good." And so it was nice to hear from a radio producer, like,
Right.
"Yeah, this is working." He's like, "What system did you use, and what did your guest use?" And I said, "Just the computer. Like, we just used the phone, and it worked, right?" So anyway, so that was nice feedback.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, okay. So then you're okay. I mean, do you think I can send you the link, and do you want to post it, or do you want to keep it?
I don't know yet. Let's listen to it.
Yeah.
Let's listen to it
Yeah. Cause it's pretty
and see how,
private. I mean, I don't know. I don't know
yeah.
how that is. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll put it up on my YouTube as I do everything unlisted. And so I'll
Right.
put it
Yeah.
unlisted, and then I'll send you a link, and then we can decide together what we want to do with
What we
it.
want to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
at the
Super
very
cool.
least, we can document it. And I think that this is really good for testimonial work. Like, you could watch it, because I'm fine with it if you want to, send it and like, this is me at work, right? Doing a healing session.
Right.
That would be fine
Right.
with me. So, but it has to feel good and safe and comfortable for us both, because that's kind of a new piece. I usually try not to have people share until after the program is over, right? So
That's interesting.
yeah. So, but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, but I do want it to be a safe community,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure about just putting it out on YouTube. I don't know. So, but we can decide.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Super cool.
Okay, good.
Thank you. This is always so fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And it was really exciting to see you in action. That's really cool. And everything you said is really cool. I really liked the poem, and I really like that whole, the foundation of your work, that what you bring to it. And so it's really, yeah.
Well, I
exciting.
appreciated yours too. And I loved all of how you described it in the work, and then the simplicity of it, but then also you allowed me to share what was coming up for me and that space, because I heal a lot through the talking, because my voice is the vehicle. So if I'm
right.
feel my healing actually activating when I'm using my voice. So that was
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it will be helpful to do this work for us both, I think, because then we'll be able to get a sense of, what other pieces could enhance and expand, and grow, and deepen the work that we do.
Oh, that would be good too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Wonderful.
Woo! Yes. All right. So, what works for you next week? Do you want to stop the recording now, or?
Yes.